Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and you can probably tell by the title of this video that I'm going to be talking about my most owned author. I'm just talking about physical copies of books here because I'm sure Terry Pratchett has that bee on ebooks. But I own 29 Charlaine Harris books. I hope you saw by the thumbnail because I'm not going to replicate holding those books up again like that. There was just too many and I don't even know if I got a good thumbnail picture anyway. But I own a lot of Charlaine Harris books, and that's just in part because one of her series is 13 books long. And the series I'm talking about is the Sookie Stackhouse series, also kind of nicknamed the True Blood series because I believe HBO did turn it into a TV series. This is a book series that I absolutely loved when I was younger, and it still holds up to this day, in my opinion. This is a vampire paranormal romance story, basically, but with a mystery as well. That's mostly what Charlaine Harris writes, is like mystery books, but a lot of them have kind of paranormal element to them. I'm going to put this down because this is quite heavy. So this series follows Sookie Stackhouse, who lives in a small town called Bontemps in America, and she is a barmaid in a local bar, and she is also telepathic. This is in a world where vampires have just shown themselves to humanity and they now live among us. There's lots of twists and turns in this series. It's 13 books long, and near the end, the last couple of books do kind of die off a little because it's quite a long series and quite repetitive. But I think this is a really fantastic series. Really well written characters. There's not just vampires in here and telepathic people. There's a whole other host of supernatural beings, and because this is an adult series, it's just more real and raw and gritty. And if you like the TV series, I would definitely implore you to check out the book series because it obviously changes because they can't adapt books exactly to the screen. So I definitely encourage you to pick up the book series if you enjoyed the TV series. But yes, this book series has 13 books in it. The next series I own is the Midnight Texas series, which is a trilogy. This was also adapted for TV, but I believe there was only 2 seasons before it got cancelled, and I was quite disappointed by that because I actually really enjoyed the TV series. It did deviate from the book slightly, as they always do, but I thought the acting and the characters were really well portrayed and I really enjoyed it. So I was quite sad about that. But this is a trilogy. I believe the main character in this, Manfred, also appears in another series I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'm just trying to remember which one's which. So I don't believe they're all the series are set in the same universe, but this series and one other I'm going to mention are set in the same world. So this follows a young man called Manfred, and he can see the dead. So I think he's more like a psychic, and he has his own online business where he does readings for people. He ends up moving to a small town called Midnight, Texas, which there's a lot of supernatural people that live there. There's angels and demons and magic and vampires and all sorts of shenanigans ensue. And I really enjoyed this trilogy. It was really, really well done, and I wish there was a bit more books, but I enjoyed it. The next series I'm going to talk about is the Harper Connolly series. So this is a 4-book series following a young woman called Harper Connolly who, when she was a teenager, got struck by lightning and can now sense dead bodies. And when she finds a dead body and comes across it, she can see that dead person's last moments and she can help figure out who killed them or how they died. So it's her and her stepbrother, Tolliver, travelling America and helping out investigations with the police and figuring out how these people died and were murdered. So she's a bit of an investigator, and she also does like search and rescue to look for missing people who are presumed dead. As you can imagine, they're maybe not quite welcome in all the towns and places they visit, so there's a lot of backlash from the local community who think they're taking advantage of these families. So there's lots of danger, lots of intrigue, and they're really good mysteries. I really enjoy this series. I love the characterisation of Harper and Oliver. I love their relationship, and I love how it grows and changes over the series. And I just really liked this world. And I enjoyed how Harper's powers worked. And I liked that they were just unapologetic in the way they were. They came from humble beginnings, and I just really enjoy this quartet. I think this is one of my favourite Charlene Harris series, and I think you can tell by mass market paperbacks I've got, the spines are really broken, they're very well loved and very well read, so I really enjoy this series. The next series I have here is the Aurora Teagarden series. Now this is a 10-book series, but I only own the first 6 so far. I'm still kind of collecting these books. I buy most of my books secondhand, so I haven't come across the last 4 books in this series yet, but I do really enjoy it. This was one of the first series of Charlene Harris's that I've read that doesn't have supernatural element to it. This is just a straight up murder mystery series, and I was unsure if I would like it because I don't read mysteries. If you've been on my channel a while, you know I don't read mystery fiction. I don't. And the only reason I really love the other Charlene Harris series is because they have that element to them. Like, I love supernatural, I love the twist, I love that extra element. I usually find mysteries like this can be quite boring, but I thought I love Charlene Harris's writing. I like her other series. Give this a go. They're really short. They're kind of novella style length books, especially the first couple. And I thought, I'll give it a go. You can tell these first 3 match, so I bought them in a little bundle together. And Aurora Teagarden, she's got a ridiculous name, but she's great. She works in a library part-time in a small town, and she runs, I don't know if she runs actually, she's part of a Real Murders club. They meet in the local hall and they discuss murders and mysteries that have happened elsewhere in the country, and they discuss them and they talk about these murders, kind of true crime style, and I love that element. Obviously a murder ensues and this club are involved, and I just love how that's kind of interwoven. The first couple of books are very much centred on Aurora and the small town vibe and her club at the Real Murders, but obviously as you get further to the series everything grows and changes. I would maybe make a separate video about the bits I don't like about this series, and it's more just the fact that Aurora starts off as this very shy, quiet, bookish woman working in a library, and then obviously she's never had a relationship and all that, and then suddenly she's had like 6 boyfriends or this, that and the next thing. So I do enjoy the series, but it's not my favourite, and I'm not in any hurry to get the last 4 books, but if I come across them I'll definitely read them. But yeah, maybe I've not sold that to you quite as well. But I enjoy this series. Just a bit light-hearted fun. Yeah, I believe this is one of Charlene Harris's older series. The first book, Real Murders, was published in 1990, so 30 years ago. So it holds up quite well. And the last 2 books I have are the first 2 books in the Lily Bard series. This is a 7-book series and I only own the first 2, and I haven't actually read these yet. I'm going to get to these soon. This is another one of Charlene Harris's series that doesn't have a supernatural paranormal element. This is again just a murder mystery, small town thriller series following Lily Bard. And in the way that the Aurora Teagarden series is, but I believe this series is a bit darker. The Aurora Teagarden series is quite warm and cosy and light-hearted in a way, as much as a murder mystery can be, but the Lily Bard series is a bit more dark, I believe. Again, it's Lily Bard is escaping a troubled past. She moves to a small town called Shakespeare, and she gets embroiled in a murder mystery, and it goes from there. And I'm excited to read this series when I get to it. So that's the 29 books of Charlene Harris that I own, but she has written 42 books in total. But there's a couple of series that I don't have, and the first one is the Cemetery Girls trilogy, which I honestly don't know anything about and I had never heard of. Ah, Cemetery Girls Trilogy is a graphic novel series. And it's about a young girl who lives in a cemetery and she's made it her own. And trouble ensues. But I don't believe it's not a murder mystery. It's just a paranormal story. So there's a trilogy there that I don't have. The last series I don't own any books of is the Gunny Rose series. I believe she's written 4 books in this series so far, but she's still writing it. This is a very new series. The first book being called An Easy Death, which is a fantasy paranormal story, and it's all about magic. So yeah, that's a wee overview of my most owned author, which was Charlaine Harris. I own 29 of her 42 books, and probably I might end up owning the majority of them because most of her series do appeal to me. She's just such a very consumable writer. I find her books just so easy to read and digest. They're not complicated, they're not overly difficult, and maybe people might find that as a bad thing, but I really enjoy her series. Charlaine Harris has been publishing books for over 35 years, and I believe she's from Texas. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that wee overview. Let me know if you've read any Charlaine Harris books, and I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments because I love her series a lot, and I would be happy to chat to you. Also, let me know who your most owned author is. How many books by that author do you have? And does it beat my 29? So, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to leave a comment and subscribe if you aren't already and if you enjoy my videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.